Hi, this is Susan Jones. I was supposed to teach the craft at the Katy this year. I am sorry we were not able to meet, but I hope you all are safe and doing well. Pat had asked me to go ahead and do this craft and record it. Her directions were just put together something that most people would have the supplies at home. I don't know what you guys have at home. Some people will have a lot, some will have a little. And so I tried to put together something that I thought that most people would be able to make. Please realize this is my first time to teach online, so a lot of grace for this one if you wouldn't mind. I really appreciate that. Well, the card that I thought we would do has to do with angels. I know the theme is God's mighty angels, and these are not necessarily mighty angels, but I hope they're angels that will help your friends to get through this time, that maybe you could send it to one of your friends and just say, hey, thinking of you, fear not, God is with you. And let them know that they're loved and cared for. I will say that I've done a variety of these cards, and some have turned out looking really well, I thought. Some have not turned out nearly as well. I also know that as you all do these cards, they'll be different, and your different personalities will come out as well as your skills and talents. That is great. Do whatever you feel called to do with them. Adjust them, adapt them. Whatever supplies you have, use those. Make them your own. But these are just some ideas for you and suggestions. You will need some basic supplies, and I'm going to go through the list. You're going to start off with a piece of either cardstock or it could be also construction paper. It's going to be 10 by 6.5 for the one I'm doing if you're going to keep it to scale. You're going to have a piece of paper that goes on top of it, and it's going to be 6 by 4.5, and it can be any color. If you do a lighter color, make 2 of them because you can use them a little bit later on the inside of your card. The next is going to be white paper. This does not have to be cardstock. It can be any kind of paper, but white. And you're going to be cutting out some different shapes. You'll have one that is 2 by 2.5. You'll have 2 that are about 2 by 2. You'll have one that's 1.5 by 1.5. Now those are all the white ones. You'll also need a red one that is 1 by 1/4 and 1 by 1/4 inch. And then if you have some gold paper to do a halo, it would be good to have one that's about 1.5 by 1.5. Other supplies you'll need include double-sided tape, or if you have an adhesive runner, or if you have a glue stick, or if you even have just glue. All of those are options, whatever you have on hand. If you have a paper trimmer, that's great, but if you don't have one, go ahead and get out a ruler, scissors, and a pencil, and you will have to mark the paper and cut them to size. All right, I'm going to give you a second to get all your supplies together. Okay, one thing I did forget is that you'll need either a piece of white paper that's 5 inches by 4.25 inches, or if you have a printer that does color, you could go ahead and do a copy of the Bible page. I did one that had Jesus' words in red, and that way it gives a little bit of a dynamic pop of color on this. You don't have to. If you just want to use a white piece of paper, that's fine too. You could also, because this is going to be for the wings, when you do the wings, you could write in a Bible passage if you'd like to, if your handwriting is great and you'd like to do that. Other item that I did was I took my printer and I had the words, "Fear not, God is with you." I typed it up and then I printed it out on a cardstock paper, a little bit heavier so it doesn't see through as much, but whatever you have is fine. I used an 18 font and I tried different fonts with the words just to see what looks good. Again, play with it, decide what you like and what you don't like. Okay, to start the card, we're going to go ahead and take that one piece of paper that was 10 by 6.5, and you're going to go ahead and fold it where the 10 side is so that it goes from 10 to 5. You're going to go ahead and fold it, and hopefully a better job than I did. And just go ahead and do a crease in there. That is your card. The next part you're going to do is take the piece of paper I mentioned that is colored. It's 6 by 4.5, and you're going to go ahead and put it down. take your double-sided tape or adhesive, glue stick, whatever you have. Go ahead and get that put down there. And center it as well as you can. So now you have your base of your card. This is the part that either a white paper, or if you want to go ahead and have scripture written down, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and fold mine in half. And this is a shape we're all familiar with. We've done this since grade school. I'm going to make a heart. You can play with it to see which wings you like the best. I start with a pretty deep part down here for this part of the angel wings. The nice thing about this is you can play with it and see what you like best. At that point, I'm going to bring them down pretty low because the bottom of the heart is actually where the base of the angel is going to be at. And just go ahead and put that on your paper. If you want to just put the white on there, this is a good place that you could actually put a favorite Bible passage up here where there's not going to be any part of the angel at. Center it to about where you think it is approximately, and then you're done with that part. The next is get your biggest white square. That was about 2 and 2.5. Go ahead and fold it in half. And then, instead of doing a heart like we just did, you're going to kind of do a reverse heart. And you're just going to go ahead and cut down around. But instead of doing the final heart part, I've been using mine as just doing it to straight so it's flat. And then just cutting here. This is the part where if you wanted to do a diamond shape at the bottom, you could as well, or you could do kind of a squiggly line, whatever you want to. I've been using this pretty much the whole time I've been doing it. Go ahead and you're going to go ahead and center it on your heart wings, and then you're going to have it so it covers the very bottom of the wings, and that's where the base goes. Alright, so we have the bottom of our angel. Next, I'm going to take the 2 squares. These were, I think 2 by 2, or yeah, I believe it's 2 by 2. You can fold them together if you want to, or you can do them separately. I have a tendency to go together so they're close to each other, but they're not going to be exact. Again, it's the same shape, more of a teardrop than a heart. And then I'm going to have a flat bottom on them to give us the arms of the angel. And I do look to see how it looks, to see if I want to just do a little bit of trimming if I have too hard of an angle. And just play with it what you think looks best. Then you're going to go ahead and take your adhesive and attach those as well. And this is where I found myself getting into trouble. Oftentimes my arms don't go to the exact same length of the place on the wings, but that's okay. You don't have to be completely perfect symmetrical on this. It's very easy to see that it's not, and that actually adds to the beauty of it, showing that it is made from home. Next, you're going to take your 1.5 by 1.5 for your head. This I'm going to make a little bit rounder, still starting off with that teardrop, but I'm going to make this a little bit rounder instead of showing that total inside where earlier where you go in a little bit further. This I'm going to make it rounder all the way up to the top. And this gives us the head of the angel. But I'm not going to stick this on yet because I also want to make sure I get the halo. Now I will admit I cheated on my circle. I have a die cut where I can make the circle. If you don't have a die cut, you can go ahead and take your square piece of gold paper that's 1.5 by 1.5 and use something like a spool to do a circle around it. and that will, something that fits within that, you can draw a circle around it and then cut it out. Mine was not perfect. It's okay if it's not, because you're actually going to be hiding the back of it. So you can do it this way as well. But if you have a die cut, I suggest you use that also. There's no harm in doing that. So you're going to get your circle. I'm going to use this one, and you're going to fold it in half. And mine is not perfectly in half, and then again, that's okay because we're going to be hiding some of it. I'm going to move around with the circle, cutting the inside, and this is going to give us our halo. And that does not look very good, so I'm going to go ahead and even it out, make it look a little bit more of a circle instead of just whatever it was that came out that way. All right. At this point, I'm going to put it on the angel and kind of fold it over. This one we'll go ahead and use some double-sided tape again. Nice thing about double-sided tape is it is very forgiving. You can fold it over if it's not quite the way you want it. There we go. And then I'll put some more tape on the back of the head. And then we're going to stick it on the card. Fold that over, so hopefully it doesn't look too much like a ball cap. At this point, I'm going to take my red square, the one that I'm going to use as the breastplate, and this I am actually making into a heart. And that we will go ahead and put here. All right, now we have our angel and the wings. And then I want to put some words with it, and I just pick whichever one I like and cut it out. And again, if you have a paper trimmer, this is easy to do it on there. Otherwise, scissors work as well. This one I'm going to use a little bit of a thinner piece of adhesive, and this is score tape. This will make it a little bit easier. Put it on there. This one might be good for a glue stick as well. If you have the stuff that allows you to pop things up, the dots, those would be great to be able to lift this up to give it another dimension to it. But it doesn't matter which one you do. I think it'll look good because it's the message that's the important part. The final part you can do is I talked about if you had a piece of paper that was, if it was a light enough one that you could write on it, like this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the inside, and it just gives it a little bit of added something to it. This is has a texture to the paper, so I'm going to put the texture down so that when I write on it, it won't give my writing any kind of bumps. And again, that just gives it a little bit of something extra when you open it up. And that is this card. I hope that you guys have fun with it and you're able to do one that you want. Do one that you can send to a friend and just let them know that you're thinking of them. I did several of them, and just so you can see the progress, my first one, I thought, well, I'm going to try faces. I didn't think that one turned out real well, but you know what? It was fun, and I may not send this one to someone. This may not be my favorite one. It may be one I keep for myself and put in front of me every day so I can remember, fear not, God is with me as well. I have a friend named Beth who loves purple, so I did this for her. And I don't know if you noticed, there's a little bit different on here. This is when I talked about using different items you have at home. This was just a doily I had. I had projects earlier that I'd worked on that had doilies. I had plenty of them left over. And so as I made this and I did the legs and the arms, I took the doily and just used that to cover those. And that gave an added dimension to it. And I thought that turned out really well. I thought it was pretty. And again, I used a lighter color in here because this is a pretty dark purple so that I could still write on it. This is one I like the colors. And so I played around with the shape of the wings. Do whichever you like. If you have embellishments that are gems or buttons, stickles, anything like that, you go ahead and add to it. But go ahead and play with the colors and figure out what you like the best. I hope this helps. I will admit, originally whenever I was asked to do this, I was going to do an origami angel. And I tried several. There was one site that there was a really pretty angel with folded hands, but after 10 minutes of folding and unfolding and still not having anything more than a block, and knowing when I was about to start cussing, I decided it was not time to do that angel, and I was not going to share that one with you. However, there was one that was done I tried over and over again. It's a little bit harder. They make it look easy, and actually kids are doing it. But the wings are the difficult part. But I've put the link on the paper with the supplies so that if you want to do it, it is for kids. It's kids craft. And if you want to try an origami angel, that would be an option for you. It's about 10 minutes long total, and it's a really good tutorial on how to make an origami angel that is relatively easy. I will say the wings are difficult, so give yourself time to do those and keep going back and looking at it over and over again if you have difficulties with it. I hope to see you at the next Katie. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope at that time we can do another craft together. Until then, keep safe. Lord bless you.